I've interviewed some of the greatest people in the world, and I don't think there's one of them that says they don't struggle with self doubt. What are the tools that you use to get over that?
Well, before I get into the tools, I just want to emphasize the power of what you just said.
Mm,
I mean, please let us not fall into the seduction that the billionaires, the icons, and the legends that we admire don't suffer.
mm.
As a matter of fact, what I've learned is, in many ways, I had more freedom when I was anonymous. In many ways, I have to work harder on JPF, joy, peace, and freedom now than I did when I was just starting out.
Why do you think
You know
that
what,
is?
Jim? Well, it's because there are great costs to success. Um, People will be jealous of you.
Mm,
People will attack you. I mean, the 5 a.m. Club right now, it's one of the best-selling books in the world. Shattered publishing records. But I have to tell you, when it came out 13 months ago, a lot of people hated it. Bob Dylan said it really well. He said, "Don't criticize what you don't understand."
yeah.
But what happened is it's a very disruptive book. The models, the philosophies, the neuroscience, the spirituality, the philosophy, the tactics. And so until enough people read it to change the narrative, it was the most interesting thing. Some early readers tried to take the book down. So what I'm trying to say is, um, I've written a lot of books, but even now, you're faced with critics, you're
Mm.
faced with attackers, you're faced with copyists, you're faced with self doubt. I mean, I'm writing a new book now. Well, I've got the pressure of trying to disrupt the 5 a.m. Club winning formula for the sake of something even more original and more interesting. And so I could stop, I could retire. It'd be a lot easier. I wouldn't have the pressure of a new book. But I mean, is the purpose of life a golf course
No.
and sunbathing? I think that's awesome. Or is the purpose of life to push your craft, to see how far you can materialize your human gifts, and to serve as many people as possible? And if you really believe in a mission of service
Mm.
and and full creative expression, then you don't stop and you don't retire. And even when people cut your feet out from under you, you get bloodied, you heal, and then you keep on going.
Well, that's it. I think, there were times in my life where I, was doing these amazing producing roles and working with these huge celebrities, but there was this feeling of emptiness. And as soon as I moved into doing what I am now, there's just, I work so hard to do what I do now. And, I devote my whole time to servicing the greatest good of the world and raising human consciousness. And you know, my heart is full just being able to do that. And when you do have those people that come against you, it's, that what you're doing is of the greatest good. So you're able to push through that. How have you been able to do that? I mean, especially like you were saying when you brought out the book and there were people that were trying to bring you down. What did you do?
Okay, that's a brilliant question. I would say a few things. I have to go back to the 5 a.m. Club.
Mm,
I have to go back to your habits. I have to go back to my morning routine, the 20-20-20 formula. I mean, that is, I say in the book, it's the mother of all routines, because you wake up, you give yourself an hour, you run through the 20-20-20 formula or whatever it is, your own form of it. But that allows you to battle proof your mindset. It allows you to purify your heart set, allows you to get on a treadmill or do yoga or stretching or Pilates to fortify your health set. It allows you to read the right books or pray or meditate so you armor plate your soul set. Now it's 6 o'clock and the slings of critics don't hurt you as much. So I'd say the 5 a.m. Club and the victory hour has saved my life.
Mm.
I would also say the other rituals I talk about in the book, like the second wind workout, 5 o'clock, going for a nature walk, the two massage protocol, the 60-minute student. So those are very important. How do you protect yourself against critics, doubt, adversity,
Mm.
difficulty, even in the, it's your routines. The second thing I would say is, my father is really, I mean, he was a family doctor for 54 years, but in many ways, he's a philosopher. And he used to quote the words of Rabindranath Tagore, the great Bengali poet. And he used to say, Robin, when you were born, you cried while the world rejoiced. He would say, son, live your life in such a way that when you die, the world cries while you rejoice.
Mm.
I guess what I'm trying to say is I would take a bullet for the opportunity I've been blessed with to serve. Um, I went to Nelson Mandela's prison cell 4 years ago,
Mm.
and it changed my life because it was a cold July day in South Africa, and I stood in that tiny cell, and the ANC former ANC prisoner who was my guide showed me, and it was, I asked him. I said, "Did you know Nelson Mandela?"
Mm.
And he said, "Oh, yes, I did." He said, "I actually served with him here on Robben Island for 7 years." And of course, I asked the question. I said, "Well, what was he like?" And this gentleman said to me, he goes, "Oh, that man was a humble servant." And I don't think these are platitudes. And anyone who might be saying these are platitudes, I think they've just got too cynical by a hard world. I think ultimately life is incredibly short. Look what's happening on our planet right now.
Yeah.
And when you start to build intimacy with your mortality, and you really viscerally, not intellectually, viscerally in your body, in your emotionality, your heart set, start to feel, I don't know how long I get to live. And you actually become intimate with the shortness of life and the duty we all have to make a difference, whether you're a healthcare worker, whether you're a podcaster, whether you're a police officer, whatever you do. The game changes, and you stop chasing these ego pursuits that we're realizing we never needed. In lockdown, we're realizing the watches, the shoes, the whatever, we don't need them. And you start to live much more truly. And I think, you know, it's the morning routine that has helped me most, and my philosophy that has helped me most.